couple of minutes before starting because in the room there are few persons, only three, yes, and also online you are less than the other days. So let's wait for a while, then we will start. Morning. So good morning again to anyone. I think that even though your places are already assigned, maybe you can move on a bit in the front if you want. Uh, in this way, we can, unfortunately, we cannot stay all together in the same room, but in this way, we can start to know each other. Okay, so I think that the next week you in the room, you will not come because it will not your turn, and there will be the the people that now is online. Let me share the presentation in the meantime. If I do that. And I project this. Can you see the presentation on people online? No. Okay. Doesn't work in this way. Now? Okay. Because you are already connected. Yes. Okay. Just to be sure. Okay. So, as anticipated, this is the Thursday lesson is dedicated to the, let's say, sub-module of digital entrepreneurship. So in parallel with the rest of the lecture and the program, we will go through the aspects of digital entrepreneurship. As I told you, this is also part of the biggest initiative that is a European project that has, among the others, the aim to transfer to students as well as researchers the entrepreneurial skills. So the capability to become an entrepreneur and to develop his or her own entrepreneurial idea that possibly belongs from let's say an innovation process. So the capability to identify which are the strengths of innovative idea or better technology, because here, of course, we are in the faculty of economics, okay, and somehow you have less, let's say, technical skills, but your studies, your background should be the right one for accompanying entrepreneurs and innovators during their, let's say, business venture. Okay, but in other faculties, they focus during their courses more on technical aspects rather than business ones. So the the idea is to start a kind of exchange between students and in another phase of the work life researchers, because here we are about 6,000 people, normal researchers, professors, and to improve the capability to bring the innovation, the innovative ideas that they produce through the research, bring these ideas and these technologies towards the market and create, let's say, what is called an innovation ecosystem around the knowledge that every day, every single day, is built inside this university. That, just to remember, this is something that is somehow amazing in terms of number. We are 6,000 professors, researchers, and 110,000 students. 110,000. So like a small city, not so small anyway. Okay. So there are a lot of faculties or departments, as you may know. And university is not only here, but it's in the campus and sparse all across the city. So around this really important, say, knowledge infrastructures, let's call it like this, we want to build a strong ecosystem that is connected with the city, with the industries, and also for improving the capability of the city to become so-called, now is a term that is used in various manner, but a smart city. Yeah? And Irina, she is doing the PhD thesis exactly on these topics. So here, the Thursday, let's say, appointment will be on digital entrepreneurship, and I think I will do 2-3 lessons for introduce some concepts. And then we will start with the, let's say, intervention from and the lecture from, let's say, invited experts that we will provide, and we will bring their expertise, their knowledge, and also their point of view. Okay. Well, which are the topics of this module? Don't mind about the order, okay? But of course, we will talk about the digital transformation of the organizations. We will talk about digital business models. And then, with the help of the experts, we will go into, let's say, examples and vertical markets, such as media, entertainment, publishing, IT and telecommunications, life sciences, healthcare, financial services, and so on. Then we will also talk about the way how to, say, drive the digital innovation. Sorry. Claudia, sto facendo lezione, però al volo, semmai salgo quando finisco? Ah, ti chiamo direttamente sul cellulare, vabbè, grazie, scusa. Ciao. So, how the way out to drive digital innovation and also to monitor to audit the digital transformation in the company. What is the digital economy? The digital economy can be seen as a branch of the overall economy, but say with a branch of the economy with let's say increasing relative weight, I would say, dominated by three laws that are more technical laws rather than economic ones. The Moore law, do you know the Moore law? It's quite famous. Nobody knows. No. No. The Moore law, Moore is one of the founders of Tela. Tela is still, I think, the most important microchip producer in the world. Do you know this? Okay. And in the 70s of the past century, he predicted that the computing capability of a single processing unit would have been increased every year of the double. Sorry, every 2 years of the double. Okay. After and in parallel, the cost of each computing unit would decrease. After a couple of years, he changed his forecast, and he said that the computing power will double every 18 months. And actually, this prediction has been confirmed by the, say, technology development. Now we are, you know that all the technologies are I need the whiteboard. I don't have the time. Okay, no whiteboard. You know that maybe you know that technologies are governed by functions, technology functions that usually have a S shape. So the technology increase in this way and reach a maximum, and then the efficiency of technology start to decrease. Now with the current technologies, we are reaching the maximum. Okay, and we are not yet reach the top of the slope, but we are, and let's say the capability to increase the power of computation is starting to decrease. Because we are not anymore capable to double the capability in 18 months. Okay. This is the reason why there are a lot of expectations for the quantum computing that will produce the so-called technological step, where the old technology will become obsolete in really few years, and we will have again the capability to increase the computational power in exponential mode, a real exponential mode, like it happened in the last 30 years. Okay, and this is the first, oh my God, this is the first law that is governing digital economy and digital transformation. The second technical law relates to the other aspect of ICTs, so computation, communication, capability to transmit data. Okay, and this is the Gilder law, where it said that the total bandwidth triples every year, every 12 months. You know that there is at least for the Italian one. You know that, for example, in Italy, but also in Europe, there is a plan for guaranteeing by 2025 the ultra broadband. That means we will see better fiber optics connections to the entire population by 2025. Because the Finland was the first country in the world to introduce in their constitution, Magna Carta, the right to be connected. To be connected.
Which country?
Finland. Finland. This happened about 20 years ago. They introduced the right to be connected. Of course, if you think at Finland or countries like a certain part of Russia, you understand this because in Finland is a country that has the surface that is the triple or less of Italy, with maybe 5 or 6 million inhabitants, maybe a bit more, but so the density is really low, and winter is quite hard because you have long distances, and it's very difficult in certain period of the year to move from one place to an exit from the house. And what we experimented during the pandemic in country like Finland, Sweden, is the normality. It's not the new normality like we called, no? It's normality from decades, because they all are fully connected, and they can stay at home and do classes and doing their work and so on. Grazie, Alberto. And this became also a digital right. protected by the Constitution. The other law, oh my God, I always made the same mistake. The other law is the net calfas law. That is, let's say, this is a more economic law. Do you know what is the meaning of the network effect?
The cable connected? Or,
Go ahead.
yeah, with the people and the computers connected that feed information.
Yes, this is the network. The network effect. What is the meaning of the network effect? This is a consequence of what you say. Okay, but what is the meaning of the network effect? Think about everybody of us has WhatsApp. WhatsApp is very useful for communicating. But what would be the value of WhatsApp if only a few people were connected? The value is produced exactly from the number of people that you can reach. Through WhatsApp or a social network. And when you decide to cancel yourself, to resign from WhatsApp and move everything on Telegram, you have to start again to connect to your friends, to your this is for every social network, and this is a cost. This is an entry cost, and on the other hand, this is something that is called legacy, that makes you really loyal to a social network or let's say a digital service. Okay, so the value of the network. Let me. Yes. Okay. Just to make things clear, we normally use digitalization, digital transformation as interchangeable words, but this is not really exact. Okay, so when you digitize something, you convert an analog format to a digital one. And here comes the question. Are you capable to explain in practical terms the difference between analog and digital? Don't be shy. Nobody also from the online.
Is digital a newer technology than the analog? Or
Is
digital like a new technology than analog? Or analog
no.
would be something that you look
A new technology is not digital by definition. Can be both analog and digital in a technology. So this is not the explanation. It's let's say a more technical explanation in this case, but makes really difference. So like this.
maybe that analog works separately and digital combines the information?
Right. Well, let's try to make some examples. Think about the music. Vinyl, long planes, audio cassettes. Okay. All these supports where are because there is still strong usage of vinyl, for example. All the support are analog. Okay. What does it mean? It means that the sound is replicated, and the words tell exactly this, by analogy. So trying to reproduce more or less similar sound that comes from the shape of the lines that are on the LP and the contact of the reader. But this doesn't mean that this sound is exactly the copy of the voice of the music, but it's something very similar, very analog. But this is not an exact copy. The same for the telephone. The voice that goes on analog lines that are still existing, telephone like, I mean the landlines, not the mobile. Mobile, everything is digital. Are the voice is reproduced by using waves, electromechanic waves, that replicate somehow the shape of your voice, of our voice. The same for the radio waves that are used for transmitting TV or TV. Not TV, actually, but radio. Radio is still analogic, unless you use a digital radio. DAB. Okay. Digital audio broadcast is the digital radio. The FM, AM are still analogic. When we pass from the analogic representation of the information to the digital one, we transform the voice or whatever, the the phenomenon that we want to represent into bits, 0 and 1. Okay. So in this way, the copy is more precise, and you can copy the same information n times, and you will have always the same result. Of course, you are young, you don't remember when we were using audio cassette for recording LP, because the LP was very expensive. And we were using audio cassettes for copying the LP. Maybe one friend was buying the LP and the other were copying it, and there was a turn. And but then we were starting to copy the audio cassette and make copies, and the quality was degraded copy by copy because of the analogic mechanism of reproduction. While with the digital copy, the copies are always the same, because the 0 and the 1 were always the same. Okay. And now I was watching documentary or something like this, yes, 2 days ago. In Italy, there is only one producer of vinyl long plane, and they have a lot of work, because passionate people in music is really happy to have the long plane, and they reversed the process. One time the process was to, and this is something that you can still see if you have some CDs or music CDs, was to record them in an analogic manner, remaster, and put on the digital support, everything in digital, so analogic, digital, digital. Now the process is inverted, because everything is recorded in digital, and then the final support is analog. Okay? So in the last 30 years, there was a big process to move everything from analog to digital. When you use the mercury for measuring the temperature, this is an analog information. Now we use sensors for getting the outside temperature, and sensor give us the precise temperature in a digital manner. This is another example. In the last year, the television moved from the analogic broadcast to the digital broadcast. In Italy, and in the next 15 days, there will be another switch off, because the digital technologies behind the digital television and the digital broadcast will change again. So they will say the old televisions will not work anymore, because they have the technology. Now all the television need to be HD, need to support HD broadcast, a high definition broadcast. And This is possible thanks to digital broadcast, digital television that is capable to have a more efficient use of the bandwidth. How many of you are Italian? Probably you remember that it's now something about 15 years, more or less. There was a switch off where all the people had to buy the decoder for watching the television because the analog was switched off. The analog bandwidth is less efficient than the digital one. The use of bandwidth for analog transmission is less efficient than the use of bandwidth, I mean aerial bandwidth in this case, of the digital one. But this is true also for physical bandwidth like fiber optics or copper. Okay, so the telecommunication authorities in Italy, but all around Europe, decide to optimize the usage of the bandwidth, the aerial bandwidth, wireless bandwidth, in order to allow both the digital television, the digital radio, the wireless communications, because the bandwidth is limited, it's not unlimited. So the frequencies of the bandwidth are assigned by law to military scope and civil scopes. Okay. In this way, with the digitalization of the bandwidth, it was possible to allow many more operators to become broadcasters. Probably you noticed that when we switched off from analog to digital, many more TV channels came available. Okay, this is thanks to the shift from analog to digital. So digitization, we will continue to talk about this. Digitalization is the way in which many domains of social lives are reconstructed around digital communication and media infrastructure. This is somehow more a social phenomenon. It's the way how to call the way how we live now, where we are fully connected, always ready to answer to a WhatsApp message. So, and everything is happening thanks to digital communication and media infrastructure that we have available. The third concept that needs the other two, of course, you can read them also as layers. Of course, this one cannot exist without this one, and so on. Digital transformation is something that drives the organizations, not only, let's say, the profit companies. We don't have to think only to profit companies, but we have to talk about organizations that are driving their restructuring by using digital technologies for changing the way they provide their services. Also, us at the university, no, you have a lot of digital things to do. Okay, you have to register now. Unfortunately, it's needed, but you have to register on Prodigy. Okay, I can well remember when I was a student like you here, really, and at the beginning of the course when I started Cambridge University, for the enrollment, I woke up several times at 4 in the morning for queuing in the secretariat with a lot of paper and things to pay and so on, going to the bank, then going back and so on, because we were 5,000 matriculars. Everyone will need to enroll by a certain date. And so there were long queues. I don't think that you went in the secretary once in your life, maybe once. If you have particular trouble. Okay, so every year was like this. And when I was at the third year, the university introduced the electronic curricula, the electronic statements for exams and grades and so on. But of course, the computers, the personal computer was not so used. So there were tokens around the faculty, self-service token, where with the kind of smart cards, you were able to do everything you needed for enrolling, for paying taxes, and so on. And this was a radical change in our life. At least they allowed us to sleep a bit more in the morning. So now the point is how to build a strategy of digital transformation around the customer needs. And to identify which are the organizational needs. So what do we have to change in our organization for enabling efficiency, effectiveness, and build services around our customer? This is a list of definitions of digital transformation. You can pick one of that, and of course there are different perspectives, and there are, let's say, more technological perspectives. There are more social perspectives, more organizational perspectives, but you can pick the one that you prefer. Okay? And maybe you can try to find a synthesis among this. Take a look. You can also comment. Do you feel comfortable with this definition? Okay. What do we need for ensuring a successful implementation of digital transformation? Of course, this is not something that is an easy task. Okay. So, as for any structural process, there are opportunities, of course, but also risks. And according to these issues, an organization needs to identify which are the key factors for that influence digital transformation that are basically the digital strategy, the maturity, digital maturity of technologies that you are deploying, the business model around the technologies, and of course, the technology that you are using in terms of literally in terms of providers of technologies. Okay. When we talk about the digital maturity and the digital technology use, think about, this is more a question for football fans. Okay. Think about DAZN. DAZN is the one, maybe the main provider now for Italian football matches. Okay, and DAZN has a strategy that is really full digital. Moreover, full online. So no traditional broadcast, but only online broadcasting. The technology that they are using is quite mature. It's a quite standard technologies. They didn't invent anything, but they have an issue here because many users experimented the interruption of services during the match. This is something that is happening quite often because the digital technology that they use was not still, is not still maybe dimensioned, well dimensioned to the row of demand that they had, being a semi-monopolist for this market from this year, from 1 month ago. So still the last year, the users of the football fan were sparse among different platforms. TV, Sky Sport TV online, Team Vision, and so DAZN, and so on. So DAZN was having maybe 1/3, I don't know exactly, but really less customers than they have now. And from one day to another, they increased their customer because they won the bid for the football rights, but they didn't improve the technologies, or they underestimate the impact of such a big number of new customers. So just to make an example. Features of digital transformation. With digital transformation, you can basically reach anyone, any customer that is potentially on the market. So you have a big dimension to manage. This is exactly what happened to the DAZN somehow. Okay. You have your company has to be extremely fast to adapt the offer, but also the, say, related services to the needs that are of the market, the customers. When our grandfathers or grandfathers were deciding to set up a company, the perspective, life expectation of company also something like 50 years, generations. Now the life expectation of a company is pretty short. Unless the company is capable to change business model according to the changing of the rules in competition. Think, for example, probably you are young, but not so young to not remember Blockbuster. Which was the competitor of Blockbuster? Television, but
The cinema.
no. But the competitor in the rank of video cassette, who was the competitor of Blockbuster? You want to know the name? Netflix. Netflix. Okay. But Blockbuster was not able to understand the change of the rules of competition because of the technology, because of the internet. Netflix understood this and started a huge amount of investment for changing their business. For changing the business. For moving completely the business model from, say, company that rent audio cassette to a company that started with renting movies online and then became also the producer of most of the series or movies that they sell with a flat fee. And actually, but think about also to the to Amazon. No? This is something that is changing and it's changed the, the way how society behaves. But all of this was enabled by digital transformation. So, which are the challenges of digital transformation? The legacy challenge. The overall paradigm, business paradigm, is moving from the concept of owning digital infrastructure to the concept of using digital infrastructures. Physical assets are a huge burden for organizations. And we will talk also, of course, of cloud computing, for example, as one of the solutions for reducing the burden, the digital legacy that is produced by the ownership of physical assets. And the incumbents, also the incumbents, the other top, are abandoning the concept of ownership of physical assets. They prefer to rent it from someone else and to concentrate on their business, that is the business of selling services, not selling real estate infrastructures. Okay. And this is the first challenge. And we will touch this point several times during the next lessons. The other point is to be capable to manage in an efficient way the allocation of resources, as every company, traditional company, old economic company, also new economic company, have the same problem of limited resources. That doesn't mean only to have few money, because few money is the result, but have to have few skills, few people, and day by day, every day, is a matter of organization and reorganization. That this is the following part. Need to be extremely fast and agile. So there are different approaches to the value creation, digital value creation, in terms of resource allocation. That, as I said, are always scarce. Internal cost optimization depends also from the type of business, of course. Internal cost optimization, existing product enhancement, or radical business innovation, business model innovation. The other point is the agility challenge. Companies have to be agile in the way they act and react. And this is something that starts from people. It is not just a matter of technology. The technology is a result. Agile mindset, structures, and strategies. And this is all these points are connected to each other. But this is something that relates also with the capability to collaborate so with other organizations. So in that case, this is a strange word, ambidexterity, the capability to integrate, coordinate, orchestrate a portfolio of multiple conflicting operating models and micro-organization, both inside and outside the corporation. Every organization is a complex model, even is a small organization. Okay. So there are, how many we are here? 3, 6, 9. We are 9. We set up a group. Probably we have 9 slightly different visions of our company. And it is always like this. You will set up the working group for the project work. You will be 3, and you will have 3 different visions. You have 2 choices: give up or try to be ambidextrous. Try to find a compromise between vision, the idea of operating, the way how everyone of your group, of the company, works, different operating models. Every function, think to a, let's say, a bigger company. Every function is as a chief that bring his or her own experience, background, and way of working. And within the organization, we will have a number of micro-organizations that have to work together. And this is not an easy task. This is a real challenge. Then you have to deal also with outside, conflicting interests. The literature of corporate governance, you can find plenty of papers about the conflict within the management and the shareholders. Shareholders want the maximization of the yield, okay, of the profit, their profit. The manager want the maximization of their compensation and their spending. And often these two aspects are conflicting.
Isn't the dexterity also consider the ongoing process that has to happen right now because the company needs to be working today, like in present, while it is working on setting up future processes?
Yes, exactly.
So it's like
this
a
is a
combination of doing both.
yes, because often, in order to be capable to meet the requirements of the present business, you forget to think about the future. But probably, maybe it would be more important to think about the future instead of concentrating on daily. It's a matter of strategy and again of resources to allocate to one or another. Startup challenge. There are a number of initiatives in Italy, in Europe, and all over the world to involve innovative startups and the process, the digital transformation process of bigger organizations. So there are both public entities and private entities that are involving startups, innovators in their business with initiatives of various kinds. Because it is recognized that startups, in most of the cases, don't have strong managerial competencies, but they have ideas, disruptive ideas. On the other hand, big organizations like public or private companies have strong managerial competencies, but no innovative ideas. This is also the reason why we are doing this job here, because we want to bring the innovative ideas of the university that arise in the university towards the company, private and public ecosystem that is around here in Rome, in order to have, let's say, a kind of win-win collaboration. And this is another important challenge because company has to be, both the startups and both the big one have to be open-minded to this collaboration. Connectivity, that is not the telecommunication perspective, but is the here again the social perspective. Create and nurture collaboration across functions, divisions, inter-organizational boundaries, leveraging differences, trying to use the differences as an advantage, the way how to find an advantage as a source of mutual learning and innovation. So this means collaboration, interdisciplinarity, multidisciplinarity, and facing the problem. We were in a meeting a few days ago. We were discussing the way how new university curricula will be built in the next future. And some university, one university in the north of Europe, University of Twente, said that by 2030, they will not have the degree courses like we usually we see every day, you know? And the degree courses, degree and master courses, will change radically because will change completely the way how to study and to learn. The credits, the ECTS, the credits will be gained on challenges. What does it mean? Does it mean that every semester you will have assigned by the university or companies that are working, that are collaborating in partnership with universities, a challenge, two, 3 challenges. Every challenge will have a value of 6 credits, 7, 10, whatever. Okay. What is the challenge? The challenge is solve the mobility issues in Rome. This is a challenge. Okay. So you, as a student, will have to understand which are the skills that you need for presenting a project that is capable to solve this challenge. Then you will go in a list of courses that are available online. Can be also Coursera or whatever, or courses provided by university, but these courses are online. You will follow the 1, 2, 3, 4 and courses that you think you need for gaining the knowledge for solving the challenge. And then the work will be with your professor tutor to presenting a project for solving the challenge, and you will be evaluated for this. So you will you, I don't think you, but your colleagues will not come anymore here for having the lesson like we have today, but they will come here and probably will have to reshape all the spaces here for talking with the professor, for talking with the colleagues, for working around the challenge. So the rooms will be laboratories for experimenting the knowledge that is gained like we did in the last 2 years. Completely different approach that goes towards this concept, mutual learning.
Do you think that's going to work?
Yes, I think it's going to work because the reality is like this. When you go in a company, there is no one anymore that explain really in depth what you have to do, but gives you a challenge. Do this and come back in 5 days. So you have to gain also the attitude to learn by doing and work on problems, real problems, not just theoretical ones. Of course, you need the bag with the instruments for doing this. But after, let's say after a couple of years of degree, first degree, then you have to shift towards this paradigm. And you have, I think that the first years have to give you the understanding of the way how to, the way how to identify what you need. Whether that I study machine learning or it's better that I study financial maths.
But there are some institutions that already work like that. You're going to masters, they normally give you a case in a master to discuss while you learn from the professor the theoretical part, and then you solve a problem.
Yes.
So that's
Exactly.
normally
The model will be completely case-based. Okay. The governance, this is something that we already mentioned, and so this is a huge challenge because who is in charge of the governance has to try to match all the needs coming from stakeholders. The functional identities or redefine and identify, so the reconfigure the way of collaborating among the company functions. This is a matter of strategy, of course. And the final challenge, the most important, that is something that actually we are dealing with, is the people challenge, skilling and reskilling of people, okay, towards digital literacy. This is a big issue now. It's a big, let's say, societal issue. There is a kind of paradox now in the society. There is a really high unemployment, but there are so many companies that are not able to fill in the position because they don't find the right person on the market. So there is a black hole in the middle that is due to the lack of digital skills, digital literacy. For example, there is a lack of programmers. But as I said yesterday, a programmer is not anymore a person with a degree or a master. A programmer is a skilled person with a high school diploma. So the duty of the high school, some high schools, of course, is to train programmers. That is not a high level skill. It's a middle skill. But companies that are looking for programmers, they don't find them.
Because normally they are trying to find a mix. Like, I want an accountant, but I want the accountant to know how to do the software things of the accountant.
Sometimes, yeah. But for example, there are also there is a lack of people that are capable to manage the industry 4.0 machineries that are numeric control machines and so on. But this is a skill that comes from the high school, not from the university. When you finish the university, you want to go do something else. And there is a lack of digital skill and reskilling in this way. So I think that for today, we did it. I don't know if there are questions. Could you please repeat what you say about the project? Which sense? Which project? The work, the project work. You mean? Yes. No, I didn't say anything in particular. The thing that I can say is that again, you should start thinking about the project work because that if even if it doesn't seem so, but time is running. Time is running, and you have a lot of things to do, and of course you don't have only this exam this semester, and so on. So start to. Unfortunately, this is an issue that comes from the situation that we are dealing with. Unfortunately, we cannot stay all together in a room, so probably you don't know each other very well, but exactly for this, you have to start thinking by now about your project work.
So that needs to be a new business idea?
Could be either a new business idea or a research paper, kind of research paper.
We are limiting pages for research.
I always say that I do not wait anything. I just read and see if everything that is needed is there or not. Okay? There is no deadline. Actually, you depends also from the date when you want to do the exam. Of course, if you say no, but I follow the course, but I want to do the exam in June, okay, you have some more time. Of course, if you want to do the exam in January, February, you have to start to say now. Also, because you are quite a lot. Potentially, you are more than 100. So this means that if you are 2, 3 per group, you are 40, 45 groups. And I need a plan for managing all these groups. Yeah.
Are we going to present our?
Yes, sure.
Yeah, are we going to present it during the lessons or just at the exam?
No, I will probably we will not. I'm quite sure that we will not have enough time during the lesson period. So I will open, let's say, a window between the 10th and the 20th of January, and we will allocate 2 or 3 presentations per day, and in order to anticipate. Then at the exam, you will just do the oral part. Okay? Any other question? Do you have already a guideline to follow on the requirements to download? Yeah. What do you mean exactly? On the requirement of the project, yes, I will upload on the platform during the weekend. Okay. I approved about 50 requests yesterday. I don't know if maybe I missed stuff.
Yeah, I sent just mine.
Huh?
I sent mine.
Okay. But I remember that name, so I should have approved. Yes, Moodle need a code to access, but there is anything on Moodle, so you don't need Moodle. The link of the Google Drive is in the page of the course. Okay.